Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 3 from Marvel Comics. One of the few Marvel comic series that I'm actually enjoying at the moment, which is really, really, really sad. Because like Marvel is usually considered like the epitome of amazing comics, or at least it used to be. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like they're somewhat turning things around, maybe just a teeny tiny little bit. Um, Meanwhile, DC seems to be going in the opposite direction and just becoming even worse and worse. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy has been really good so far. I mean, it's only 3 issues in, but it's a good 3 issues. I like it. Little nitpicks on my end, but not enough to ruin the story. But can we talk about this real quick? The War of the Realms, which is going to be another big Marvel event. Can we talk about events in general and how we just need to stop doing them? At least stop doing them every freaking month. We've literally had 3 events just from Marvel alone, and we're only 4 months into 2019. There's almost been an event every month. Like, stop. Like, the great thing about events were that they hardly ever happened back in the day. Like, it would be like years before you'd have an event, and then it made it seem like amazing and cool because it's like we have all these characters banding together for this big event, and it's like we haven't seen them together in years, or sometimes even for the very first time. But now it's literally like just everything. Like I see Guardians of the Galaxy characters in freaking I don't know, what's a Marvel series, Spider-Man or something like that. I don't know. Like it's just it loses its luster because we have them all the time, and it's not just Marvel. DC does this shit too. Like it's just event after event after event, and it's like, oh, for the love of God, stop! Like just knock it off. I get why they're doing that. It's because their sales are so bad that they're hoping that events will like boost it up. But all you're doing is you're just fatiguing the few fans that you still have left. Like if you want to get fans back, all you gotta do is just tell good stories. Tell good stories and maybe drop your price down a bit. Because $4.99 for one 20-page issue is BS. Like I can literally go and pick up a manga for twice that, but get like 100 something pages worth of my time. Like, I mean, look at oh my God, I can't believe Alterna Comics. Peter Schmeddy. Look at what he's doing. Alterna, where like they're selling them for cheap. Like, you can get an Alterna comic for like $1.50, and I mean it's good quality stuff right there. Like, I don't know if you got to change from glossy to like the newspaper print or something. I don't know. I don't know what you got to do, but I mean it's not even like the quality is any good. I mean, basically, when it comes to Marvel, I kind of just get digital copies because the physical copies, it's like the ink just smears on your fingers. But yeah, just tell good stories with good characters that have flaws and goals and growth and obstacles that they're not one punching their way through. I mean, it works for One Punch Man, but that's just because there's a whole other thing with One Punch Man like that makes it awesome. But for the majority of people, like seeing a character just completely dominate everyone that they come across is just boring as hell. Just tell good stories, maybe drop the price down a bit, and you'll get your fans back. Enough with this like events over and over and over again. Like literally, this is going to be the 3rd event in 4 months. Like, knock it off. But yes, good issue so far. I like the artwork for this. So we start off with Eros, Thanos' brother, who's kind of monologuing to himself about how he envies Thanos, about how he envies how Thanos just kind of does what he does. Like, he just does whatever he feels like. And Meanwhile, it seems like Eros is always kind of living in his shadow, or like even when Eros tries to be good, it's just like it's never enough. And yeah, like he basically monologues about the fact that he's trying to be a good guy, but now he's kind of forced to kind of do what Thanos does, in the sense that to save, you know, a billion lives more, he has to sacrifice an innocent, in this case, Gamora, because everyone assumes that. For I guess as a backstory, this is just what I've gathered from reading this series, because I don't really follow Marvel anymore, because Marvel is pretty garbage. Every time when I try, I'm just left disappointed. Except there's some good stuff out there. I heard Venom was really good. I heard Amazing Spider-Man is actually pretty decent. Guardians of the Galaxy is really good. I don't know if you guys have any more. Let me know, because I'm always down for checking out new series. But basically, Thanos is dead, but he was able to kind of put his soul or reincarnate himself into someone else. Basically, he's able to live on through someone else, and everyone kind of just assumes that it's Gamora. So now you got pretty much the whole universe is trying to hunt down Gamora to kill her to prevent Thanos from rising once again. And Eros is he's kind of in this situation where, because of his hate for Thanos, it's kind of left him scarred, crippled, and now he is basically having to kill an innocent, or in his eyes, an innocent, to save the lives of more innocents. So I mean, we got this really nice, dilemma and dynamic and stuff like that with this character. And then we got Hela, who sees herself as the goddess of death, like the goddess of death. I know she's a goddess of death, but she kind of sees herself, or at least this series kind of portrays her as being like death itself personified, rather than just like a version of death. And anyway, she's hunting down Thanos. She was able to get his head, and I believe she also has control of his body now. Oh, she has like his headless body, and now she's coming for his head. I think she's trying to like piece Thanos back together and bring him to life in that sense. It's kind of, yeah, iffy on what exactly it is she wants. And then we cut to Nova, Richard Rider, who I'm not all that familiar with him. I did hear that there was actually a really good series. I believe it's 2009, written by Dan Abnett, who I've really enjoyed like his stuff so far that I've read. What was it? He did Captain Cronus Vampire Hunter, which I don't think anybody like knows about. I did a review on that. Actually, a pretty good series. I would recommend picking it up. It's based off of the Captain Cronus movie, which was a Hammer horror film. You can, if anyone interested, you can watch it on YouTube for free, and I highly recommend doing so. It's like one of my favorite movies of all time. Not my favorite, but not the favorite of mine, but one of mine. So far, my favorite movie is Tremors, for anyone who's interested. But yeah, Captain Cronus is up there, easily top 10. So I'm thinking about maybe checking it out, just because what little I know of Nova sounds pretty interesting. But yeah, he's basically beat up, and we get I forget what they were calling themselves. They're kind of like the Guardians of the. They're not the Guardians of the Galaxy, but they're kind of like they're let's just call them Eros's crew, because that's who they are. They pretty much work for Eros, and they're trying to find the location of Gamora, because Gamora is hidden somewhere, and only very few people know where. So they're trying to hunt her down so they can kill her, like I said earlier. I'm not too familiar with some of these characters. I want to say I know this guy, but I don't remember where, but he looks so familiar. Of course, that's Nebula. That's Cosmic Ghost Rider. These, I think maybe they're just cannon fodder. I don't know. This kind of looks like Space Crusader. I don't know what this character's name is. I'm just saying he looks like a crusader, but in space. Is he like trying to take back the holy space land? um, but yeah, they corner Nova, and I'm not showing the dialogue just for copyright reasons and stuff like that. Because even though I'm showing very few panels, whenever it comes to Marvel, I'm always very careful because I've already been false flagged once by a Marvel employee because I gave his series a negative review. And even though this is not a negative review, there's always just that fear of Marvel trying to copy strike me again. But we have this nice dialogue where oh my god, I can't believe I just blanked on his name. Space Ghost Rider, Cosmic Ghost Rider, actually seems to be the voice of reason, trying to convince Nova that I get that Gamora might be innocent and she might not have done anything yet, but we all know that Thanos is going to take over her body, and it's best to just get rid of her now rather than wait for that to happen and risk the lives of millions and billions of people. But there's this kind of weird thing where people are kind of implying that Gamora is innocent at the moment, but she's going to be evil. But then there's other characters who basically talk about how Gamora did some evil shit in the last, I guess, big event from Marvel or something. I know I think it was an event where Gamora basically killed Peter Quill. I mean, he got better. That reminds me of that Monty Python, I'm not dead, I'm feeling better. Or the part with the newt. She turned me into a newt. A newt. Oh, I got better. So yeah, Peter Quill was dead, but he got better. But he got killed by Gamora. Gamora, I guess, ran a sword through him. So yeah, it's weird. The Guardians of the Galaxy, her quote unquote family, the people who stand by her and stuff like that, kind of see her as she did some evil shit in the last event. But then the characters who are actually trying to kill her consider her to be innocent at the moment, but are trying to kill her before she becomes not innocent. It's weird. But yeah, he basically tries to convince Nova, but Nova flies off, and we get this nice moment where basically this guy, whose name I'm just blanking on, tells the Cosmic Ghost Rider, go after him. And he's like, "Are you kidding me? That's Richard Rider. There's no way I'm going to be able to catch up to him." It's like, oh, that's kind of a nice little thing, because I mean, from everything I hear, from what little I know of Nova, he's one of the fastest Marvel characters ever, easily top 5. So it's nice that some people seem to remember that, because it seems from what I'm hearing, it seems like most people tend to forget about that little tidbit. But yeah, we cut to Peter Quill and the new Guardians of the Galaxy. I will say this is my one little nitpick. I'm not a fan of Peter Quill's personality in this series so far. I don't know. I don't know if it's just because I'm most of my knowledge of Guardians of the Galaxy comes from the movies, but I'm not picturing this sad sack alcoholic Peter Quill. And I'll just say this: I'm not really all that big a fan of alcoholic characters. I mean, sometimes it's done well, Tony Stark. But in general, it just seems like a poor attempt at melodrama. And it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't interest me. I get why he would be alcoholic, though. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm assuming in this he has feelings for Gamora. It seems to be hinted that he does. So I don't know if they're basically running with that. Because I know, previously, before the Guardians of the Galaxy movies came out, there really was no relationship between him and Gamora. If anything, I believe he was actually hooked up with Kitty Pryde from X-Men. But I guess they're kind of hinting that there is. Either way, I mean, someone he cared for and considered his family killed him. Ran a sword through him and he died. So he sees that as a huge betrayal, which is understandable. So it makes sense that he would be alcoholic. I just don't care. To me, it's just I hate reading alcoholic characters. I hate reading characters who have like drug addiction. I get like it works for some stories, and you can get like really good character moments and stuff out of it. It's just a personal taste of mine. It doesn't. I'm not interested in that kind of stuff. Um, I kind of wish he was more the Peter Quill from like the movies, where like you can have your serious dramatic moments, but there's also like humorous moments. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting. I'm blanking on the term. Um, Self-deprecating humor, stuff like that. To some extent, is fine, but it's just he's just kind of coming across as a sad sack to me. So yeah, the Guardians basically want to track down Gamora because they want to protect her, and Peter Quill is kind of on the one hand, he wants to protect Gamora because he has feelings for her, whether they're romantic or just familiar. Um, but on the other hand, it's like she betrayed us. She ran a sword through us. There's something happened with Rocket Raccoon. Um, I don't know what, but so he's kind of apathetic, but he kind of wants to help. But he's kind of like struggling with that. So I mean that's kind of interesting. Like we can do that without needing to throw alcoholism isn't into it. And we can also do that without making him like just a sad sack. Like every time when he's like on panel, I guess just like the mood just kind of drops, and it's just like I don't know. Like I don't want to feel depressed when I see Peter Quill. Like Peter Quill should be like more humorous, I think. But again, this is just me coming off from the movies. I don't know how Star-Lord Peter Quill is in the previous comic book iterations, like before the movies came out. I've read like maybe the first 2 or 3 issues of the what year was it? The Dan Abnett Guardians of the Galaxy series that kind of introduced Star-Lord with Rocket Raccoon and stuff like that. Basically the series that the movies were kind of more based inspired off of. I read like a couple of issues from there, and from what I'm gathered, he doesn't seem like he seems more like his movie character than anything. But so it's just I don't know. It's weird seeing him like this. And then of course we have Groot, who's kind of acting like he does in the movie, like his teenage rebellious phase. He's kind of a dick. Like I'm kind of not a fan of Groot in this series. But he basically pulls a mutiny and takes over the Guardians of the Galaxy, and yeah. I guess this is just like another thing I hate. I hate seeing characters that I like, that I enjoy, that I'm rooting for, just kind of get walked all over. That's pretty much my nitpick for this series so far. If you're a fan of Star-Lord, Peter Quill, you're not gonna enjoy the pages that he's on so far, because I mean, he's drunk, he's basically complaining, like he's basically being like overly emotional and just complaining. Like there's literally was it the first issue or the second issue? I think the second issue, where he's talking to Kitty Pryde, his ex-girlfriend, and he's literally like dumping his problems on her and kind of trying to use her as an outlet, like emotionally like validate me kind of thing. And then we just basically get like anytime he comes up with an idea, anytime he tries to says like he's in control. I mean, this is literally his ship. He's in command. Nobody follows his orders. Everyone just kind of walks all over him. And yeah, he's basically just like a welcome mat. People just like kind of step all over him. So far, we're 3 issues in, and he has no balls. Basically, he just kind of gets, or if he does, he's just constantly getting stomped on. So I'm not a fan of that. Like, man up. Like, really, come on, this is your ship. Don't let some freaking tree mutiny your ass. Stop drowning your problems in a bottle. Like, become the cool Peter Quill that I enjoy. I don't mind self-deprecating humor, especially when it comes to Star-Lord, but like this is just like sad sack. This is like Tom King is writing Peter Quill. And just Peter Quill. Like all the other characters are fine and stuff like that. Just Peter Quill is just like, it feels like Tom King is like guest writing just his scenes. It's very just like, oh, come on, man, just grow some cojones already. Put your big boy pants on. Then there's some more, but I'm not gonna spoil it. But yeah, that's Star Wars. Star Wars. Oh my god, that's Guardians of the Galaxy. I almost said Star Wars of the Galaxy. That's Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 3. I know like I'm a bit negative, but I actually do enjoy the series. I did like this issue. This is one of the few Marvel series currently out that like I'm actually like looking forward to reading every month and stuff. So I do recommend it. It's just, of course, I have my nitpicks, and those are like my personal opinions. Other people might see different. Other people might, who might read this and be like, you know what, I like the portrayal of Quill. It makes sense. Like, I see him. He's in a slump right now, but he's gonna over time get better and become the character that we all know and love. And he's just going through a character arc right now, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. It's just I hate seeing sad characters. Like characters like this it's just like, oh, come on, man. Like you don't have to be like badass OP, super tough, manly, beating everyone in one punch, kind of take shit from nobody kind of thing. Like you can have your flaws and your imperfections and stuff, but it's just when you're a character who like every time I see you, I'm just like, oh, come on. It's just, especially when you're the main lead of the series, it's just like, come on, just get to the point where you become at least a bit better. But yeah, that's Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 3. Again, I like it. I like the series. It's just I have just some nitpicks, but overall, I'm enjoying the series so far. So tell me what you guys think. Please, if you guys haven't already, subscribe. I'm trying to hit 400 subscribers by the end of the year. Hopefully, I can get there. So please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notification. Leave a like if you like the video. Feel free to comment down below. Comment about anything. What do you think of the series? If you're reading it, if you're not reading it, does this video make you want to read it? What are your thoughts on pretty much anything? Well, what are your thoughts on Marvel in general? What are your thoughts on events and just publishers just shoving so many events down our throats? What do you think would make comics better and bring back fans? Or do you guys agree with me that just basically tell good stories without ham-fisting like your political ideals into it? And before anyone says comics always had politics, they did, but it wasn't always so one-sided. Like it's not even political anymore so much as it's just propaganda at this point. Like if you want to do some undertones with politics, fine, but kind of show both sides. Also, there are ways to tell stories with undertones that's without ham-fisting it in your face and having it basically become propaganda. And also in the sense that like the way you're writing it really dates a comic. Like you can have a political story. Like look at X-Men. X-Men has political undertones, but it's done in such a vague way that like it can cover racism, it can cover homosexuality, it can cover maybe like religious persecution, it could cover just people feeling different from others and feeling isolated or ostracized. Like the way it's portrayed is done in a way that it can cover so many bases, and because of that, it's timeless. Like X-Men is you can read it in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 20s, 2010s, 2020. You can read X-Men 40 years from now and you can still be like emotionally invested and still like sympathize with the characters and stuff like that. Meanwhile, you pick up a modern Marvel comic and it's like, oh, this is an allegory for the wall, it's an allegory for Trump, this is an allegory for so-and-so, whatever. And then it's like, all right, a few years from now, it's going to be outdated and no one's, it doesn't hold up to the test of time. Like there's a way you can do it. And people just seem to have forgotten how to do it. Or at least they don't want to do it anymore. So I'm starting to ramble. But yeah, just, I don't know, comment about anything that you guys want. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys next time. Later.